Ooh, Longhorn Nation is on fire after Texas's 29-26 victory over the Horned Frogs Saturday night. And while everybody is certainly happy to be 9-1 and in the pole position for the Big 12 title hunt, there is some concern amongst Longhorn Nation about these games being a little bit unnecessarily close. Well, as always, we're going to take a look at this game. We're going to break down the positives and the negatives and then come to some conclusions about Saturday's effort in Fort Worth against TCU. Like we always do, we start with the positives in this game, and the first positive is having Quinn Ewers back. Quinn's been on the shelf for the last 2 weeks after getting injured at Houston, and his first game back was pretty darn good. He was 22 of 33 for 317 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Now, Ewers had a little bit of rust early on, but ended up settling down and playing a pretty darn good game. And it is certainly good to have Quinn back in the pocket. Positive number 2, the Texas defensive line. Individuals like T'Vondre Sweat played one heck of a game, especially early on. They're getting some tremendous pressure, especially in the middle of that TCU line. And whenever they were disruptive, TCU could not accomplish a thing on offense. So moving forward, logically, hey, we need to continue to be disruptive. We don't let up. The more disruptive we are, the less successful the other team will be. Positive number 3, Jonathan Brooks. Again, a brilliant rushing performance for Jay Brooks. 21 carries, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, his performance against TCU goes to show how valuable a player he is. And not only that, but just how big a contributor he has been to the Longhorns' success this season. Finally, last and certainly not least, positive number 4, Jordan Whittington. His never give up attitude, his commitment to excellence really was evident on the field in Fort Worth Saturday. The interception by Ewers, it looks kind of bleak. Jordan Whittington never gives up on that play. He ends up chasing the member of TCU's secondary down and busting that ball loose. Texas recovers, gets the ball back, and is able to continue their drive. So Jordan Whittington gets a big shout out for never giving up. And as Sark mentioned in his Monday press conference, for being such an unselfish and do-it-all player for Texas all season long. So hats off to you, Jordan Whittington. Areas of concern. Well, the biggest one, obviously, Jonathan Brooks out for the remainder of the season because of an ACL injury. He's such a talented player. It's hard to overstate how important Jonathan Brooks is to this team. The good news is, though, Texas has really impressive depth everywhere, and running back is no different. So there are a lot of players that have the opportunity to step up and shine next week against the Cyclones. And that means CJ Baxter, that means Savion Red, that means Jaden Blue, and that means Keelan Robinson all have a golden opportunity to step up and be the man against Iowa State next week. Another area of concern, third down efficiency, still a little bit of an issue for Texas. You look at the stats, Texas 4 of 13 on third downs against the Horned Frogs. That performance still needs to improve. If you want to win the Big 12 championship, you've got to keep improving each and every week, and that means getting better on third down efficiency. Concern number 3, and this is something that a lot of people have been talking about since Saturday night. Ultra-conservative play calling in the fourth quarter. And this is on offense and defense. It looked like Texas, as you know what, puckered up at the end of that game. And they got so conservative, not only on the field, but through the play calling itself, that they ended up letting TCU get back into this game. And personally, I think this is probably a reaction to the end of the BYU game. If you remember BYU, there were some unnecessary turnovers that occurred that kind of let BYU creep back into that game. I think the Texas coaching staff, perhaps even inadvertently, was recalling that game against BYU and said to themselves, okay, if we don't turn the ball over, if we play it safe, we won't let TCU back into this game. Unfortunately, that's not the way it ended up, though. Texas got too conservative, they got too cautious, and that ended up letting the Horned Frogs back into the pantry. So that's something to think about moving forward for the remainder of the season. It's okay to drain clock. It's okay to work the clock and to run the ball a lot when you need to. It's not okay, though, to get overly cautious and overly conservative, because as we saw in Fort Worth last week, that ended up hurting us in the end. Now, Longhorns have a big game coming up on the road in Ames Saturday night against Iowa State. The Cyclones are a very good football team. They are well coached, they are well prepared, and they generally play a very tight brand of football. That means very few mistakes. That means they study film and they really play to their strengths. So Texas is going to need to prepare very well this week if they want to play well and get a win in Ames on Saturday night. The good news is, as always, the mistakes and the areas of concern that we've seen coming out of Fort Worth are all correctable. Through coaching and through preparation and effort this week in practice, those areas of concerns can be fixed and they can be corrected. And I've got full faith and confidence that the coaching staff and the players for Texas are going to do just that. Bottom line is the Longhorns are sitting at 9-1 right now. They have their destiny in their own hands. If they take care of business, they're in the Big 12 title game. And that was the goal all along from the beginning of the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in Ames Saturday night. I cannot wait to see who steps up out of the backfield for the University of Texas. There's absolutely some areas that need to be worked on, but I got full faith and confidence that the Longhorns are going to address those issues and play to their strengths in Ames Saturday night against the Cyclones. This is Kevin in Texas saying God bless you, hook 'em horns, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.